Well, guys, good evening once again. Welcome to the second part of our session. Tonight, well, we are going to be working on our new unit. Someone is waiting. Yes. That means that tonight we will be working on the beginning of Unit 2. We will be working on the first parts of the unit. This unit, we will see in a moment, actually covers certain elements of grammar that probably are not or were not that explicit in the past. And we're going to pay more attention to that, to those, components in this unit in particular. We will be talking about forming adjectives, forming nouns and gerunds. In terms of vocabulary, we will be talking about describing how you feel, things that make you feel good. The task says do a class survey, but we won't be doing that. And the word culture says the happiness formula. So as I was telling you a few seconds ago, the grammatical component is going to be more related to how we make words and vocabulary that we use all the time. But the idea is to be a little bit more conscious about how those words are made. And one thing that I can tell you, like from the very beginning, is that at the end of the day, there are some rules that we just have to learn by heart. That's how it works, to be like more honest with you and more precise. Well, guys, I wanted to give you like the first idea of what the unit is going to be, and I'm gonna take attendance as usual, so we can start with our new unit of the night. Give me a second while I find the chart. What is it? What is it? La lista por acá. Ok. Gerson Arismendi.
Present, teacher.
Ok. Keiner Baez.
I'm here, teacher.
Ok. Jean-Claude Barrera.
Present, teacher.
Ok. Yesid Calderón.
Present, teacher.
Ok. Natalia Camargo.
Present, teacher.
Ok. Andrés Camilo Correa.
Present, teacher.
Ok. Andrés Corredor. Not here for the moment. Silvia Natalia Cuellar.
Present, teacher.
Ok. Johan Alberto Duque.
Present, teacher.
Ok. Elkin Darío Fernández. Not here for the moment. Julián Jesús Figueroa.
Present, teacher.
Ok. Ginette Valentina Fontecha. Not here. Carlos Andrés Galán.
Present, teacher.
Ok. Marley Juliet Gamboa.
Present, teacher.
Ok. José Alejandro Gómez.
I'm here, teacher.
Ok. Lizeth Carolina Tarazona.
Present, teacher.
Okay, very good. So just to confirm, the ones that are absent for the moment, Andrés Corredor, Elkin, and Jeanette. Okay. They still have a couple of minutes left. Well, guys, as you already know, tonight we're going to start working on our unit 2. We have the first grammatical component of the unit tonight, and of course, tomorrow we will have the second grammatical component. Here on the presentation, I have some information that I took from the pages. Basically, it's the same. Just in case, we will be working on the information that we have on pages 16 and 17. This is like one of the first images that we have on the book. And the title says, well, not the title, is more like 2 facts talking about some information, related to how people feel. Remember, that's the idea of our first, let's say, lesson of this unit 2. The instruction says read the facts. Do they surprise you? Can you think of any explanations for them? Let's read the facts that we have in here. Natalia, please, could you read the first one?
Okay, teacher. More women than men feel bad-tempered in the morning. 85% of women say they sometimes feel grumpy when they get up. Compared to only 75% of men,
Okay, women.
women.
Mhm. Very good. So that is the first fact. Maybe just in case you were wondering what grumpy means, it's kind of angry. It has to do with that feeling, you know, that sensation. But I think that in terms of vocabulary, the first fact is pretty straightforward. Or I don't know if you have any question related to vocabulary from the first paragraph.
Yes, teacher. Grumpy. Grumpy.
Grumpy has a connection to angry or bad-tempered. Like in bad humor? It's more connected on that part. Let's have a look at the second fact. Remember, guys, don't forget the question that we have in here. First of all, those facts, the two that we have in here, actually surprise you. And if you think, you know, there is an explanation why. Let's see. Johan, could you read it, please?
Yes, teacher. The two texts.
The second.
Okay. Fat most parents say that spending time with their children is what makes them happy. However, when they are actually with their children, the majority of parents report feeling stress and
Frustrated. That's it. Questions of vocabulary from this one?
Majority. Grumpy.
Majority is actually pretty transparent. Well, grumpy, we said it a few minutes ago. What did we say about grumpy?
Yes, teacher. Grumpy is related to
Like
bad
angry.
temper.
It's related to bad temper. It's like angry. It is connected on that part. Okay. So, do they surprise you? And can you think of any explanation for them, Lisette?
Maybe the first one doesn't surprise me. I think that is because women have lots of hormones, female hormones, and maybe for this reason this is more common in us. And for the second, it surprised me a little bit. Maybe when parents have children, teacher, how can I say como niños traviesos in English?
I'm not quite sure if we can use naughty, but
Naughty?
I think that it works, but because it
Okay.
has also another connotation. So yeah, usually that is, yeah, naughty, that's the one.
Okay. Maybe when parents have naughty children, it can be a bit stressed for them.
even if they love them.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's how it works. I don't have any, but I totally agree with you, Lisette. Let's see if we have something similar or different in terms of that idea or perception. Jean-Claude, what do you think?
About first or second,
Mm,
but
whichever you prefer.
I don't know, teacher, is it's very difficult. The second fact, maybe the parents feeling stressed because stay with the children is difficult because they have a lot of energy. They want play all of time, and the parents maybe uh, are very tired, so it's difficult for they be careful no for they stay with the children.
Difficult for them. Mhm.
Okay, for them.
Thank you, Jean-Claude. Okay. What do you think in this case, Carlos?
Yes, teacher, in the second part, it's
You choose.
complex situation because I notice in the normal life that parents are stressed
Mhm.
with their children. Any moment the children presents different difficult attitudes
Attitudes?
that their parents don't don't can't control.
Mhm.
It's difficult today.
Yeah. It looks like a very difficult job these days for the ones that have parents. Thank you, Carlos.
Yes,
Do you have, well, maybe it's a personal question. Do you have children, Carlos?
no, teacher.
Ah, okay. Any parents around here? No parents here?
I have I have friends
Sylvia?
that they have a child. Yes, they have a child. My friends,
And what do they say?
a couple about about the that situation. I think they think that is pretty normal because well it's the children's it's
Children.
normal that yes the children it's normal they crying or like I don't know how to say like be very like es que no sé cómo decirlo en inglés.
What would
Like
it be? So all of us can help you maybe. I hope.
las pataletas,
Pataletas.
but I don't know how to say in yes in English. Like it's very normal. So I think that the parents must to trying
Sin el tú.
to be like sensitive with them because they are in that in that age when their brain doesn't understand the situation, so it's for the children is very frustrating some situations, so we need to understand when they crying. Of course, it's like stress and frustrated for it's a frustrating situation for us also for the parents. So I think it's normal feeling in that way. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's a very complex situation. Also, how like to be empathetic with those feelings. And, in the book, remember that, guys, we're working on page 16 for the moment. On the first part, we had the facts, and then on the second part, we have this, let's say, app that is helping us to track your feelings. That's how it is named. The idea, guys, is that you're going to read the text. Notice that it's very short, probably compared to other texts that we have already read before. And we're going to answer the following questions. Of course, the first and second question, as you can see, are related to the article, to the paragraph, actually. The third question, it is definitely more about your opinion. Of course, you won't have this answer in the paragraph. Question 1 says, what does the inventor claim it will do? Second question says, how does it work? And the third question, do you think an app like this would be useful to you? Let's read the paragraph. Of course, I will give you a few minutes for you to find the answers and to think of your answer for the third question. But then first, of course, we have to read. Andres Correa, please, could you start reading the paragraph? Let's begin with a psychologist until let's choose Dave.
Okay, teacher. A psychologist has invented a phone app which he claims will make users more self-aware and able to make better informed life choices. Track your feelings, please answer at random points in their day.
Let's see. Elkin, continue, please.
Excuse me. Users say what they are doing and choose a word to describe how they feel, registering the strength or their feelings from 1 to 5.
That's it. And let's finish the text, Jose, please.
Okay, teacher. The inventor stresses that the app must be used during the activity or immediately afterwards, as he believes that we often recollect our feelings differently from how we feel at the time.
That's it. Very good. So this paragraph is basically explaining how this app works. Remember that is going to be the idea of you answering the first and the second question. We can't deny that the information is quite literal. You find it in the paragraph. You don't have to look for the information on a different place. Everything is here. But my intention, of course, is that you give yourself some minutes to think about the answer of the third question. Do you think an app like this would be useful to you? Guys, I'm going to give you 6 minutes. It's easy, but as I'm telling you, I'm really interested, especially on the third one. 1 and 2 are on the text. The third are from your opinion. Guys, do you have any questions about the instruction? Well, I take your silence as no questions. Welcome, Andres. 6 minutes starting now. Okay, let's begin with the first question, which of course is located, the answer is located in the text. Yesit, what does the inventor claim it will do?
A phone app which head claims will make user more self-aware and able to make better informed life choice.
Informed, very good. That is basically what it does, great. How does it work? Let's see what the process is. Julián Jesús. Julián. I'm not here. Mabel, how does it work?
Okay, teacher. And the second question?
Yes.
The phone app sends beeps and the people have to choose a word to describe how they feel in this moment.
Very good. And only to choose the word?
No, teacher. The people to have to qualificate.
Let's say to rank, maybe.
Rank from 1 to 5.
Okay. And in which moment it is supposed to be done? Like in that precise moment, 2 days later.
Teacher, can I answer?
Sure, Sylvia, yes.
We can register our feelings on the app during the activity or afterwards the activity.
Okay. That would be it. Thank you, Sylvia. Let's see your answers. I would like to know your perception if you think that this app would work for you. Of course, everybody has a different opinion about it. Let me ask Andres Felipe. Do you think it would work for you?
Pardon, teacher, sorry.
Do you think the app would work for you? Andres? Andres?
Yes, yes, I think so. It will help me to be more happy.
It will help you to be happier?
Happier, yes.
That looks like an improvised answer, Andres, but okay. I don't want to push you, of course. Let me ask Johan. Would it work for you?
Sure. The third question, yes. Yes, I do. I think that very are momentary. This will help us to have a better control of things.
Okay. Positive answers. Gerson, what about you?
Okay, teacher. Yes, I do. I think the app would be useful to me because it could be help me to identify different points or moments or situation where I could be or could feel stress. So also could be help me to identify which activities don't like it, but I don't know. It's mean I can do every day different activities, but I don't. I am sure that if these activities could like me. If you have a summary a day, a week, or of a month, I or could be easily to me identify which activities uh, I haven't to do.
I don't have to do.
I don't. Yes, teacher.
And which activities I like, because you say like me, it's like the activities have feelings for you. It's like Spanish, me gustan, but which activities I like. But okay. Gerson, thank you very much for your robust answer. One more. I would like to ask Jeanette. What do you think? Would it work for you?
Yes, teacher. I think it will be good in my case for certain times when I let something minor ruin my day, and it will make me realize that it's not that bad and that it can be better for me.
Okay, something minor. Jeanette, very good. Excellent. Well, guys, notice that at the end of the day, if we are talking about describing situations and providing like an opinion about something in terms of grammar, which is the first component of the unit that we're going to study tonight, we are talking about adjectives. We're going to take a step back. I know that you know, but the idea is to refresh our memory as much as possible. First of all, let's talk about probably the easiest definition that we can assign to what adjectives are. First of all, let's keep in mind that the adjectives are giving us more information about nouns. As you remember from the beginning of the unit, we will be talking about how to make nouns tomorrow. But let's say that the protagonist of the day is the adjective. Basically, their intention is to describe or to modify the noun. The adjectives don't have any impact on verbs or adverbs. Their focus or their intention is to talk about nouns. And well, there are different types of adjectives, of course. And look at this easy example that we have in here. It says, the black cat was angry. In this example in particular, we have two adjectives. First of all, well, the ones that are in bold, you know, which are black and also angry. And the word here that we have in italics is being the noun, talking about the word that is being described by these two adjectives. So it was just like to refresh your memory, talking about what adjectives are. Remember, their function at the end of the day is to describe. That's all that they have to do. But of course, we are not going to talk about the typical adjectives tonight. When I say the typical adjectives would be like black or angry or beautiful, no. We are going to talk about, let's say, new ways to make adjectives. And also on that same line, we need to refresh our memory talking about prefixes. The good thing, I dare to say, is that the word is very transparent. And when we talk about prefixes in English, it's exactly the same as in Spanish. So what would be prefixes?
Prefijos.
Exactamente. Very good. So let's keep refreshing our memory from Spanish of either to say primary school, even high school, why not? We're talking about a group of letters that they change the meaning of a word where they are added to the start. It's very important, guys, that we keep this characteristic, group of letters. Without a word, this group of letters, they don't make any sense. Different to the compound adjectives, that those are two words that separated, they have a meaning. In this case, the group of letters, they are nothing, let's put it like that, unless we put them into a word. Sorry. Guys, I have to be honest. If we are talking about prefixes, we are talking about a huge list. Of course, we are going to focus probably on the most common ones, like in case that we see them, we know what they mean and we know the impact that they are applying to the word. I repeat, the list is huge. That is why I included this, let's say, extra information here in this box. First of all, something that looks maybe a little bit obvious, that not all prefixes can go with all words. There is no a magical rule, you know, like to recognize which prefix has to go with this specific word. As usual, maybe we start creating small groups in order to remember easily, but it is like when we talk about regular and irregular verbs. We don't know when they are regular and when they are irregular. We know the rules, like we have to follow ed, blah, 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 but we can't say that, let's say, action verbs are regular and then stative verbs are irregular, right? Or we can't say that if the verb has 3 syllables is regular. And no, I mean, I'm not gonna say crazy rules. The same happens with the prefixes and suffixes. We can have groups, we can organize them at some point, but at the end of the day, this is something that we have to study by heart. Notice, for example, these different prefixes. We have il, we have im, we have ir, we have in, we have an, and we have this. And all of them that we have in here basically focus on the same idea, not or the opposite. For example, we have the word legal. Adding this prefix makes it the opposite. We have illegal. Notice that usual becomes unusual, happy, unhappy. In some cases, we say, okay, if they begin with I, maybe they go in this way. But for example, legal begins with L, but in the case of perfect begins with P. So at the end of the day, there are some combinations, you know, that we can put together, but we can't say that there is only one rule. The only thing that we can do is to recognize them in very general aspect, as I'm telling you. This group in particular talking about the opposite. We have these 3 talking about extreme. We have inter and we have across. We are putting them to other adjectives, in this case, to make them with another meaning. Now, remember one thing that I told you a few seconds ago. These are a group of letters. If I say only this, I'm not telling you anything unless I put it next to the word honest and I have dishonest. This is the moment that then the prefix actually makes sense. So I repeated this a lot because it may look a little bit obvious, but to avoid confusions with future grammatical exercises, only group of letters. They alone don't mean anything. When we put it next to a word, they become something. In this case, talking about the opposite. Talking about prefixes, in this case, guys, remember the idea. We're talking about adjectives, the words that we use to describe. Could be positive or negative, not the typical adjectives, right? We're not talking about beautiful, no. We're talking about this, let's say, new words that we can create by adding prefixes. Of course, there are more. There are many, many more. For the moment, we're going to keep this group in here and also the ones that we have in the book on page 134, if I'm not mistaken. Guys, any questions about the prefixes? What would be the, thank you. What would be the opposite of a prefix? Spanish from high school, come to us.
Sufijo.
Very good. So we have the same family. And it's pretty much the same idea. What is going to be the difference? That this group of letters, they go at the end, okay? And if the list of prefixes was big, the list of suffixes is pretty much the same idea. Notice that actually we use all these words, you know? We say professional, we say important, We say bored when I'm gonna focus our attention a little bit more. We're going to refresh our memory with these endings, but you already know how they work. We say festive, and probably we don't really notice that what we are doing is to put a suffix next to an adjective to make it look like a description. They are part of our vocabulary. But the idea or the intention now is that probably we are more aware what they mean, you know? Most of them is pretty much the same. Notice having a quality, having a characteristic, having the quality of, they are kind of synonyms. Maybe we can say why we have to say sensitive and not, I don't know, sensical. It is sensitive and that's it, you know? We can say because it is with T. Look at the structural. We can say structurative. Why? Just because, okay? You already know what just because means. So we have to be just aware of the meaning that they have. Because we're talking about how words are created, that also means that if we don't know, let's look for the words, you know? I know, guys, that at this point you are becoming B2s. And that means that we don't really want to rely on extra help. But if we are not sure about how the word is created, let's look it up. Let's go to a dictionary. Let's not take for granted that because our level is good, we don't need to look for the meaning of the words. Sometimes we just forget, right? Like our memory plays a hard game and we can't remember. Let's look for the meaning. That's how it works. I was telling you that I wanted to pay like extra attention to these endings that actually we have already studied them in previous cycles. And probably the most common suffixes when we're talking about adjectives are ed and ing. Once again, just to refresh your memory, keep in mind that when we're talking about ed, we're talking about a feeling or we are talking about an emotion. That also means that if we're talking about feelings of emotions, you already know that those are temporary states. We are not always happy. We are not always sad. Those moments just pass. So keep in mind these characteristics. And of course, because we're talking about feelings and emotions, we're talking about people and animals. We can't assign emotions to an object. Don't complicate your life. You know, because you say, but it's artificial intelligence, blah, blah, blah. Don't complicate your life. Let's keep it simple. People and animals. We're talking about my friend is bored. That's how the person is feeling at the moment. Probably because, I don't know, a book, a TV show, a class. But later that feeling is going to change, right? Or I can say, I am confused. I don't get the information that someone is telling me. Probably in the future, with extra explanation, for me, the information is going to be clear. So it's a state that I have that is temporary. And because I am a person, I can have it. The other case is ing. Remember, guys, that when the adjective, remember that we are talking about adjectives, not about verbs, finishes with ing, we're talking about a characteristic that is more, let's say, permanent. And we are talking about a characteristic that is permanent for people, for things, and for situations. I can say also that my friend is boring. Maybe the person keeps talking and talking and talking, maybe like me in this moment. And you say, okay, every time that I see the person, that's the description or that's the best word that can be used to describe him or her. Or I am confusing. Let's say that the information that I give doesn't make any sense. So that is how I would be described. Let me see the chat. Okay. Okay. So probably, as I was telling you, these are the rules that you remember the most. Just in case, let's keep in mind, guys, that these suffixes, ing and ed for adjectives, are for descriptions, because we already know that there are verbs that finish with ed and ing. But in this case, we are not talking about actions. We are talking about descriptions, okay? So let me go back. We were talking about adjectives. We already know that they are words used to describe. We already know the typical adjectives, like the ones that I had in here, black and angry. But of course, there are other more advanced, because we are almost B2, more advanced ways to make adjectives using prefixes and using suffixes. This group of letters change the meaning of the word. The thing is that because of their complexity, we have to learn them almost by heart, because we don't have that magical rule that is telling us, put this suffix only in this type of word, because that is not how it works. And the most common suffixes for adjectives are ed and ing. Ed for feelings and emotions, only for people and animals. Ing for a more permanent characteristic, and could be assigned for people, animal, things, whatever you want. Of course, the context is gonna tell us if we need the feeling or emotion, or if we need the characteristic. Guys, questions before we go to our practice?
It isn't easy, but it's like entendible. Yes.
Could you repeat? Sorry.
That it isn't easy, but it's like entendible. How to say in
The
English?
adjective, which one? Easy one?
It's okay. Yes. No. Sorry,
I mean,
lo voy a hacer en español, que es entendible, pero no es fácil.
Sí, I agree, yes. No, what the sound broke for like a second in that precise moment when you were giving your idea. The problem was the sound, just in case.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Because in some cases, there are some rules that are so easy, in my opinion. Of course, everybody, I'm sure that you guys prefer other things. I don't know, like comparatives and superlatives. These are the rules. The adjective is 2 syllables, tan, pone esto y sale. In this case, no. Like, me quedo mal. Let's learn from the mistake. And that's like, unfortunately, the modus operandi of prefixes, suffixes, prepositions. Those are like tricky, but as you said, easy, but at some points tricky. Well, guys, let's have a look at our book. We're going to do the first exercise in the section that says practice. That is page 17, okay, on this part. Remember that the context that we have in here is about feelings, you know. Of course, when we're talking about descriptions, we can describe whatever we want, but we're going to go back, you know, to the intentionality that this first lesson of Unit 2 has. I'm going to read this instruction for you. It says, at Inspirations, we offer words of wisdom to help you through your daily life. Here are your favorites this week. First of all, guys, what do you think the meaning of this phrase that we have in here? Let me underline it. Words of wisdom is. Ay, qué horrendo. But you get what? You get the words. What do you think it means? Words of wisdom. What does it mean? Se haya quedado tachado, pero yo sé que ustedes lo vieron. What does it mean?
Tips, advice.
Exactly. That's the intention. Like good pieces of advice, you know, like actually good ideas to follow. Give me a second. Trying to have a more optimistic view. That is essentially the idea of words of wisdom. So in this case, guys, what you have to do is to complete the words of wisdom with the corresponding prefix or suffix, okay? That is going to be the idea. For example, look at number 1. I'm going to do only the first one until the period because it's the easiest one and it's an example. It says, life is a fast journey. Would be life is a fascinating journey. That is the suffix that we would use. We are talking about adjectives in all the cases. And of course, in some cases, like it's easier to identify it. In other cases, as I was telling you, probably we need to look for the meaning of the word and to find the combination that works. Because, for example, fascinated exists. But in this case, we are talking about journey. Guys, do you remember the meaning of journey?
Like trip.
A trip is a good synonym. Very good. So at the end of the day, we're talking about something. We are not talking about people. And we said that ED is only for people and animals, right? So you gotta be really careful when you choose the adjective, because remember that in some cases, we have combinations that work. What you're going to do, guys, as I was telling you, could be the suffix or the prefix. I'm gonna send you, of course, to breakout rooms where you can help each other, where you can choose the best way and at the same time, the way that makes sense. I need to give me some time. I just see you are repeated. Give me a second. There it is. We are 14. Yes. Okay. Guys, do you have any questions about the instructions?
No, teacher.
Okay. You will be working on breakout rooms. I'm going to give you 15 minutes. It looks like a lot, but as I was telling you, and as you already know, suffixes and prefixes can be tricky. Remember, guys, you complete them, then you read the whole statement, you see if that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, erase it and look for the best combination. And if you don't remember, if you don't know, look it up. Just look it up. Sharing screen. Yes, let's start. Gerson. Julián también. Bueno, Julián, la cosa es que José está solo con usted. Entonces, él en ese momento está solo. Y bueno, Gerson no sé dónde estará. Por lo menos Jean-Claude y Mabel, ahí se pueden ir ayudando. Ya se fue Gerson. Anyway.
Just tell the teacher. Hi, teacher.
Hello, teacher.
How are you?
Okay.
We are
We-
confused.
Ah, okay. That happens, tell me.
we have a discussion about how we to do complete the activity. If we have to use suffix,
Prefixes and suffixes.
sorry,
Hmm.
or a different adjective.
No, only to add the extra letters that are needed to create the word. Like in the first one that says fascinate, only you had to add ing, and now we have the word fascinating. But no, it is not like to use a different word, not to add the letters that are necessary to make it an adjective.
Okay.
Ah, okay.
That's the idea.
Add to make adjective. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay, teach.
Okay, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, guys, welcome back. Let's see how you did completing these words of wisdom, these good ideas like to follow, because well, in a moment you will be doing an exercise that it's pretty similar to this type of sentences that we have in here, but we'll see. We had already completed the first suffix or the first adjective, but let's see how it looks all complete. Jean-Claude, could you read number 1, please?
Okay, teacher. Number 1, a life is a fascinating journey, but sometimes the journey is more exciting than the destination.
That's it. Very good. Let's have a look at number 2. Andres Correa, read it, please.
Okay, teacher. Those who constantly run around are not always the most
I don't improvise, Andres. You have the answer. Ah, well.
efficient.
Efficient,
Efficient, yes. Sometimes is more useful to stop and reflect.
Perfect. Very good. Let's have a look at the next one. That would be number 3. Carlos, could you read it, please?
Yes, teacher. Few people are successful.
Yes.
Simply because they are talented. Must succeed because they are determined.
Talented. They are determined. ED.
Yes.
That's it. Andres Felipe, what about the next one for number 8 and number 9?
Tell the truth even when it hurts. It's better to be popular, less popular than
Less known. Remember that we're using suffixes, not compound words. Less has a meaning. We need to add a group of letters that alone they don't mean anything, unless we put it next to popular.
Okay, unpopular than dishonest.
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 That's it. Let's have a look at the next one that goes for number 10 and 11, Gerson.
Okay, teacher. Number 10, okay. Life is a series of marvelous opportunities, but many come with
disguised
as unsolved problems.
Unsolved. Very good.
Unsolved. Okay.
And the final one for 12, 13, and 14. Jeanette, please.
People who are always pessimistic have one advantage over those who are always optimistic. They are rarely disappointed.
Rarely.
Rarely.
It's a tricky one because of the rare. Let's see the answer key just in case. Very good, guys. There you go. That was the idea, to focus our attention on adjectives. At the end of the day, all the words that we were using in here were aimed to describe, not to talk about actions, right? In some cases, there could be other combinations that we already know, but then probably those combinations wouldn't match the idea that was being presented in this, well, with this context in particular, talking about words of wisdom. Keep in mind, guys, that they work like, there are some few like adjectives that we can group up, but it doesn't work all the time, you know? For example, not in the case of unpopular. We may think like Spanish that it begins with P, then it should be with M because, you know, bilabial is not im, it's an. Why? Just because. So we just have to be very careful and not to rely too much on Spanish, you know? That could be a help at the beginning, but then it wouldn't work that much. Guys, questions? Okay. Well, guys, now this is the moment when actually you are going to show your inspiration. You are going to create your own words of wisdom, specifically 5, similar to the ones that you have just completed. And the idea, the intention is that you are going to use adjectives where we can see the prefixes and the suffixes. Don't forget the first one. The example was, life is a fascinating journey, but sometimes the journey is more exciting than the destination. A short sentence, of course, in the exercise, we had like very long statements. You don't have to complicate your lives in that way. The idea, guys, is that you write the statement and notice, underline the suffixes that you are using in the statement. So it is clear for me to recognize the adjectives that you used. Of course, in real life, we may be using beautiful, we may be using ugly, cheap, expensive, but up to this point, those adjectives are really easy for you. The idea that we start using this more complex combination of adjectives. So first, I'm gonna send you the link to the chat. Second, I'm gonna display the list. So you go to your corresponding slide. I think I have a name that is not here anymore. Well, whatever. Could you let me know, guys, if it is working?
Yes, teacher.
And you can edit without problems, right? You're still having this list, Brian. Well, we know that Brian is not here anymore. Guys, remember the idea. You have to create 5 words of wisdom similar to the ones that we did. Do not forget to underline the adjectives. The suffixes that you are using. Guys, the idea that you just like, don't Google things just because, you know, because that would be really easy to recognize that you didn't do them, that you just copied and paste. I know that we are tired, but that's not the point of the exercise. So guys, I'm gonna give you first 10 minutes. I'm not gonna interrupt you. And then after the 10 minutes, I'm going to start having a look at some of your words of wisdom. Don't forget to have a look at the suffixes. Remember, guys, that on your books, I think that you have access to that section. That is page 134. You have more information about prefixes and suffixes, okay? Okay, Gerson, thank you. Yeah, I noticed because I sent him to a breakout room, but he didn't go there. Thank you. Don't forget to write down your names. Slide 1. Vamos a ver quién ya puso el nombre. Yesid, very good. Natalia. Andrés. Silvia Natalia. Elkin Darío. Ginette Valentina. Mabeli. Nadie más ha escrito el nombre. Brian Fox, ok. Carlos ahí también. They said very good. Okay. Well, as I told you, I'm gonna give you 10 minutes so I don't interrupt your inspiration for your words of wisdom, sorry. And then we will have a look at some of your creations. 10 minutes starting now.
Teacher,
Yes,
how many phrases?
5.
Okay, thank you.
Ah, okay, in your slide it doesn't say the number. It is 5. Let me display mine. Este, claro. Okay. Don't forget, guys, to underline the suffixes. That is one of the things to keep in mind. Also keep in mind that we are focusing our attention on the adjectives. Because, okay, maybe you underline the suffix and you say, no, but in this case, this suffix is not being the suffix of the adjective, it's being the suffix, for example, of a verb or the suffix of a noun. So make sure that the word that you choose is describing something, okay? Andres, Andres Corredor, check your words of wisdom. Because I don't see adjectives. I mean, with the suffixes, because good and bad, they are, let's say, normal. All of them are normal, but the idea is to make them with the suffixes. So in this case, this doesn't match. And, okay. Bad. Elkin, in the first and in the second, I don't see any adjective. I mean, with the suffixes and the prefixes, thing, you know. Just like, probably to make those mini adjustments, maybe you find a synonym or something. Jeanette, appreciate is a verb. Difficult. Jeanette, what is the base of difficult? For example, honest, we have dishonest. Marvel, we have marvelous. But difficult. See? The thing is that the word already exists and then we add extra letters. So difficult is an adjective, but not from the group that we want, you know? Like for example, you will make it work. Pessimistic, ese sí va. Successful, optimistic, eso. Good. Ahí vamos. Me salté a alguien. Juan Carlos.
Yes, teacher, my third sentence, I'm not sure about the grammar. Is correct?
Intensive pro-Russians. The thing is that pro-Russians, it's a noun. And procranians is also a noun in this case. Scientific is a noun too. Ah, no, because of people, sorry, no. In the second statement. But yes, increasingly. In the third one, I don't see the verb. Unpopular, it's an adjective, absolutely. And this is an adverb. But where is the verb in the third one? Just keep that in mind, Carlos.
Okay, it's incomplete.
We need a verb, exactly. Yeah, the thing is that in this case, pro, it's only the prefix. We need to put it next to a word. The thing is that when we put it next to Russians, then this pro is becoming a noun because Russians is not an adjective in this context. We are talking about the people in particular.
Okay.
Let's continue. 9:47, what? Perfect. Nice, Mary, very good. Oh my God, Jose. Jose, I need to see the adjectives with the suffixes underlined, please. No, well, prefixes and suffixes. I just forgot the prefixes. For example, this one is very deep, but it doesn't have an adjective. Willingness is a noun. Todo lo que va con ness es sustantivo.
Okay, teacher, okay.
Tough. Tough is an adjective, but once again, it is not from the group where we can add a prefix or a suffix. So probably, well, of course, the ideas are pretty good. Look for the adjectives and let's see if you can make any adjustments so we can include the ones with the prefix or the suffix.
Okay.
Thank you, Jose. Line. Grateful. Bien. You said very good. Well, I have a minute left. Gerson, complaining is a verb. In this case, this ing doesn't belong to the adjective thing. Sometimes asking for help is bueno, digamos que bravest is the suffix of the superlatives. Entonces, mire, lo que les decía el otro día. Si marca error, miremos a ver qué es el error. Okay. Good, Gerson, don't forget to underline, please. Well, guys, 9:50. Keep in mind that that's the idea of the exercise. That's it. Is it, are you still here?
Yes, teacher.
Es decir, fíjense que hay varias cositas subrayadas, ¿no?
Okay.
Para que les haga la segunda miradita. Lo que les decía cuando arrancábamos el ciclo. Si está subrayado es porque hay algo que revisar. Par detalles de spelling. Siempre juega a eso realmente. And before I go, Andrés Correa, opportunity is a noun. Valuable is an adjective.
Teacher, one question.
Yes.
In the word Self-critical.
Critical
Esa
is an
palabra,
adjective. And it has the ending
self,
AL.
autocritical. ¿Es pegado?
Critical,
Self-critical.
self hyphen critical. Usualmente va con guión. Claro que ya el guión está pasando a desuso realmente. Challenge es un sustantivo.
Okay, teacher.
Well, actually, guys, tomorrow, thank you. We are going to study nouns. As I was telling you, this unit is very like Spanish from high school, even from primary school. Those things that we are like ready to polish. Well, guys, I don't want to take up more of your time. Remember that you have until tomorrow, 6 p.m. to make adjustments. Probably with fresh eyes, you see new things or you create also new words of wisdom. And that would be it. Well, guys, as usual, thank you very much and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye, teacher.
Take care, everybody.